What's up, YouTube? Sean the Average Angler, and we are out in the garage shop, whatever you want to call it. It's a garage. I call it a shop because you can't park your car in here. Anyway, thanks to all the new subscribers. Really appreciate all the views, the subscriptions, the comments, the likes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So today we're going to do a little something more in depth, but still around the springtime, pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn. And we're going to talk about stick baits, Senko's type baits, right? And there's a ton of them out there, folks. I mean, a ton of them, right? And I know there's two Yamamotos. They're different. We'll go over that. So, why do I have so many? And actually, I have more. I have some X zones also, and we can go over that. I'll throw the X zones in to a category here. Anyway, let's start out with dropping the baits on the floor now. All right. Yamamoto Senko, this is your typical 5-inch regular old plain Senko, right? First of all, for the most part, I keep colors pretty simple. I think you'll notice that by most of these here. 5-inch Senko, this is like green pumpkin on one side, watermelon red on the other. I think it's a 925. This is my choice for wacky rigging. Now, most of the time with a wacky rig, if there's docks, I'm skipping up under docks, that kind of thing. Especially when I'm seeing pre-spawn fish that are suspended high up in the water column. We've all seen it, right? Early spring, nice day out. We'll see those fish pull up and suspend under the docks. At that time, I'm throwing these weightless, wacky rig, and I generally use a collar or a rubber band just because with the Senko and all that salt, if you don't use something, a lot of times the bait will come off, get torn up, this and that. Not that the ring or the band is a solution, but it definitely helps out and will make the bait last longer. If you don't know what I'm talking about, one's a wacky O-ring. The other one, now they have the banded system where you have to buy a pair of pliers that stretches the band out. That's even more durable, makes them last much longer. The other time I use the 5-inch is if I'm Neko rigging, down deeper, deeper than 20 feet typically. I will put a nail weight according to depth in one side and fish them down there. That's generally a straight down or not too far out in front of you. So the other Senko I have here, and I've talked about this one in other videos, is the 5-inch Pro Senko. Now, this is similar in the aspect that it's the Senko material, salt content off of that, all of that. However, as you'll see, it's much narrower, right? Much sharper tail. Looks really, it looks more like a finesse worm. And that's kind of how I like to fish it. Again, multiple ways here. Neko rig, shaky head. I will fish these on a Ned head also. Depending on where, what. If I'm fishing shallow around docks, I might fish it on a Ned, or I might fish a Neko with a small nail weight and wacky rig it. If I'm fishing a little deeper, and I'll shaky head it on those docks. If I'm fishing a little deeper, shaky head, or Neko and a Ned head. Okay, those they still sink pretty fast, even with like a 1/8 ounce Ned head. Cheers. All right, now let's get on to some of the not so obvious ones. Yum. I love the Yum Senkos, folks. They're like $3.99. They got a ton of great colors. They are tougher than a Senko. They don't fall as fast, which could be a benefit, could be a downfall. Again, you can fish it the same way. It's got a little hook pouch here, which, there you go, the Senko doesn't. So this one, I will fish Texas. Lots of oil on these. I was sniffing it because I'm pretty sure these are infused, although I smell more plastic than anything. This color's camo. I fished these a lot on a Ned head. And as they tear up, I'll just shorten them. Unless the fish are really keyed into the full size. The Yum Dinger, when it first came out, I don't know how many remember this. I remember this because Alton Jones won a Bassmaster event throwing the Yum Dinger on a, what I consider, even though it's one of the further bodies of water from my house, my home lake is Clear Lake. And that's just because I love fishing Clear Lake. Mostly I use the Yums either Ned head, shaky head, or a light Texas rig for flipping and pitching around targets. And I mean light, like 1/8 ounce, 16 ounce pegged, or insert a nail into the worm, not necessarily right at the head, maybe back a little bit. The third one, and I'm pretty sure this KVD Perfect Plastic, it's the Ocho. The Blue Craw, which is green pumpkin and blue swirl. Probably my favorite color. The Ocho and in craw baits. All of their craw baits I love in blue craw. Okay, you can take a blue craw trailer and put it on a green pumpkin jig, and it's a fabulous color. All right, but let's get to how I fish this. This is exclusively a dragging bait for me. Okay, and interesting in the fact that the head on the Ocho is the narrower side and much fatter down here near the tail. Now, this, again, I'm Texas rigging all the time. So, Texposed with a 5/0 EWG, typically a super line hook. I'm using these with a 1/8, 1/16 ounce bullet weight. Where is my terminal tackle? I know I just put it up here. There it is. And here is the weight I usually use. On occasion, and these are tungsten, folks. Whoops. Occasionally, I'll go up to this other one, and I'll tell you the difference and why I do this. Okay, very small tungsten bullet weights. And where I'm fishing these, and I peg it, okay, the weight's got to be pegged. Otherwise, this doesn't work near as efficiently. I'm throwing this up on banks with grass, spawning banks, number one, and the other is outside of tules and just dragging it, just slow dragging it. The beauty of it is the weight will keep it down, and it's slim enough that it comes through grass pretty well. When I go to the heavier one, it's because the grass is a little thicker. The lighter one works a little better when it's a little thinner grass. Hooked that way and rigged that way, it will pull through the grass. Instead of coming up over it, it comes through the grass very well. It'll tend to find that route through, and you can drag it right through. When you drag it through instead of up and over, and even when you do it up and over, it still works. As long as you realize the bait's dropping again, you need to let it sit for a second. You can hit a lot of beds that you don't know are there. And I went back to an area on Clear Lake where I had done this one year and just smashed them. And the water was a little stained at the time, so I couldn't see the beds down, and we're talking 4 to 8 foot. Well, when I went back there, I saw there was a bunch of holes in the grass. They were hard bottom, and there was beds everywhere. Now, the fish had moved on. This was like 2 weeks later. But the day I was fishing, I am convinced that there was beds there, and those fish were attacking that worm as it came through their bed. I'm sure you could do it with other things. I like to do it with this. Just the shape of the bait just tends to slither through it real well. Doesn't grab onto anything. And it's the most efficient way I've found. And the fish like it. They eat it. Maybe they don't like it, and that's why they eat it. I don't really care as long as they bite. All right? All right. Thanks for watching the video, folks. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Bring them on all over to the channel. You have a great day. We'll bring you more later this week. Have a good one.